was scrolling on Pinterest last night and I saw the cutest thing, these little worry pets. Okay, these ones, I'm not a huge fan of those type of eyes, but like this concept of worry pets has me very excited. So the concept is you just make these little worry pets and you can hold them and you can stroke them and they just like feel nice and they just make you feel nice inside. Now yes, in the instructions they were kind of being like advertised as for kids, but I have a lot of worries. I have a lot more worries now than I did when I was a kid and I really need some worry pets in my life, so we're gonna make them today. So the original worry pets I saw were made from fabric and the fabric was sewn together to make the worry pets. So I have some exciting fabrics here for the worry pets, but I'm also gonna crochet some because they're basically just like a blob and I can crochet a blob in my sleeve. So we're gonna sew some, we're gonna crochet some and just have a little chat about life. It's 2021, I haven't made a video yet this year, so we've got a lot to catch up on. Anyway, I'll start by showing you the selection of fabrics. So I stole all these fabrics from my sister and mom, and by stole I mean I asked to borrow them, and by borrow I said that I wouldn't be returning them, and they said yes, I could use their fabrics. So from my sister I got, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but this is like so shiny and it's so smooth and it feels so nice, and just doing this right now, this is worry decreasing, so it's going to make a good worry pet. I also have this silver one, also feels very nice, not quite as nice, but it looks pretty and I like things that look pretty. So those were stolen from my sister, and then my mum's a big sewer, so she has a lot of fabric scraps, and here are some I picked out of the fabric scrap bin. First of all, we have this purple one. I don't know what kind of fabric it is, I just like the pretty pattern. Like it's kind of like embossed. I don't think that's the right word you use when coming to fabric, but like the flowers stick out and it's really pretty. Okay, next we have another what I would call embossed, but it definitely isn't called embossed. Okay, so I looked it up and apparently that is what you call it. It's green, teal, jade, whatever you like to call this color, and it has little flowers. Okay, next fabric. I think all my mom's fabrics have flowers on them. She's a big fan of flowers. This is another nice fabric. I wish I could tell you exactly what all these fabrics are. Maybe I'll put a little name on. I'll ask my mom and I'll put a little name on if you're a fabric interest person. Next we have, this is just a cotton, I think. Super cotton made in Japan. Have I shown this one yet? Well, it's got purple roses, also a cotton. It feels very similar to this one. And this one is really cool. This is kind of more than a scrap. You could make a whole hat out of this or something, I don't know. So that's a lot of worry pets we've already got in the fabric section. Then in the crochet section, so I have a lot of crazy yarns. I have these rainbow ones. I have these multicolored ones, and I think these would just make the cutest blobs. My room is going to be entirely covered in these worry pets, and I'm gonna have no worries. Alright, let's go. So I ended up doing quite a few things differently to the instructions I found on Pinterest, so I'm just going to talk you through what I did to make my worry pets. So first of all, I had this little mini bucket. I got this mini bucket for my birthday. That's irrelevant, but I used it to create a pattern because I wanted to create a pattern so I could just pin it on the fabric rather than drawing a circle directly on the fabric, because then you have to deal with fabric markers on the fabric and it might like leak through the other side and make your fabric look bad, you know what I'm saying? So I made my pattern or my stencil, whatever you'd like to call it, and I cut that out, and then I pinned that onto the fabric and then cut around the pattern so I could cut out a circle. Now a smart thing to do would have been to just fold the fabric in half and cut two pieces of fabric at once, but no, I didn't think of that until later. So I ended up doing this step twice to end up with my two pieces of fabric, and then I pinned the two pieces of fabric together. Now you'll notice that the purple side is on the inside because that's the side I wanted on the outside, and I knew that I would have to flip it inside out later on. You'll see that in a sec. So I pinned my two pieces of fabric together, and then I just got some white thread and sewed all around. Now if I wanted my sewing to be particularly even, I could have like traced a circle around it so I'd be sewing in an exact circle, but I couldn't be bothered doing that, and so my sewing was quite uneven, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, eventually I got to a point where I had a very small gap in the fabric, and that's the point where you need to turn your friend inside out. So I turned my friend inside out, and then I did the stuffing. So in the original pattern they said to use some kind of beans or beads, or I don't know what they were using. I didn't know what they were, and obviously I didn't have any. So instead I used the normal stuffing I use when I'm doing all my crochet projects. It's just a polyester fiber fill. I got mine from Spotlight. You can get them from most craft stores. It doesn't really matter what you use. But yeah, I stuffed it and I was happy with that. And then I had to sew up the final little hole in the worry pet. So I don't know if there's some special way you're meant to sew up your final hole in your sewing project so that you can't see the stitches, but I never learned how to do that. So I just did some basic sewing. I tried to do it quite tightly
obviously, and quite small stitches so you couldn't see it so much. You can still see it. Looks kind of messy, but oh well. My worry pet was finished. Well, not quite. He needed eyes. So I already said I didn't particularly like the original eyes, and obviously, since I don't like them, I don't happen to own any. But what I do own a lot of is googly eyes. I have so many googly eyes. I have 2 whole boxes full. So I got out my boxes of googly eyes and looked through for the perfect size. I found the size I was happy with them, and then I glued them on with hot glue. Thank you to my friend the hot glue gun for assisting in this. And then of course, once I finished one worry pet, I wasn't going to stop there. It was time to make some more, so I made 3 more worry pets. I made this little green one with cute little flowers, then we have a blue one with a big purple rose in the middle, and finally a sparkly blue one. I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. Like, the thing is, I hand sewed them, obviously, you just saw that, but my hand sewing is not very even, but it actually kind of gives them personality because they're kind of little wonky shapes. So I was looking at my fabrics again. I realized that these 2, there's just not enough fabric there to make one, which is a shame, but that's alright, we'll move on. This fabric, there is enough to make it, but it's just like a cotton and it doesn't like feel that nice. Like, all of these have such a nice texture and this one is just not the same. So I've made the executive decision to throw this fabric away. But I still have this silver fabric, which is just enough to make another one, and that will be my last one that I sew, and then I'll move on to the crocheting. But I thought we could do this last one together, have a little chat. I have some things to catch you up on. So thing number 1, it's now 2021. What have I been doing all year? I literally have no idea. Like, I'm really not sure where the last 2 weeks went. I was working on another video, which I hope I will be able to finish at some point, but I ran out of the supply I was using and haven't been able to get any more. Look, there's a circle. This looks very like spacey. You know, when people have like a futuristic space party, I think this is what they would wear. I feel like I've actually spent majority of the year on TikTok, but now not only am I watching TikToks, I am making TikToks. I mean, I used to have an old TikTok that I've kind of abandoned now, but now I'm making them and it's actually really fun and I really like it. So if you want little mini updates from me, mostly about Squishmallows I've bought, go follow me on TikTok. But anyway, the thing I really want to talk about is that I'm very excited because I hit 1,000 subscribers. Don't think that. I have now hit 1,100 subscribers. I know what's happening. I know where you guys are all coming from, but thank you so much for subscribing. Okay, time to flip this inside out. Oh, flipping it inside out is always so satisfying. Look at that. Okay, now I need some stuffing. I just need to sew up this last little bit. It's done! Well, it's sewn. I just need to add the eyes. I'm currently just waiting for Mr. Hot Glue Gun here to heat up. And the final one is done. It looks like some kind of space rock. So now I have my 5 worry pets. They all feel really nice. I'm just really happy with how they turned out. I just think they're so funny. So I'm now going to move on to the crocheted worry pets. The first one I'm going to do is using this purple multicolored wool. I don't know where it came from, I just found it in my cupboard. And I will be following a pattern. Now the pattern kind of confuses me because it says to use like really fluffy yarns. And while I have really fluffy yarns, I remember I was trying to make a fluffy scrunchie and it just did not work because I couldn't see the stitches at all. So I'm not going to be doing that, even though they would feel really nice. I'm just going to be sticking to yarn I can actually see when I crochet. So let's do that. So in order to crochet this, I just followed that pattern I had found, but I will say you can really use any pattern to crochet these, like as long as it's sort of like an amigurumi sphere, you're right, you're good, and it will make a nice worry pet. But the pattern that I was using actually had 10 single crochets in the magic ring, which I'd never done so many single crochets in a magic ring before. I didn't know if it would keep going, but apparently it does. Then after I did that, I just continued following the pattern. You increase to 20 stitches, then to 30 stitches, and then you did like 4, 5, actually I think it was like 7 rows. I don't know where I got 4 from. I think it was about 7 rows where you just kept going around, not increasing at all, and then it was time to decrease and just did a normal decrease. I recently relearned how to do an invisible decrease because it turns out I was doing it wrong the whole time, and my decreasing looks a lot neater now, which I'm very happy about. Anyway, once I finished my decreasing, I put stuffing in the worry pet, just the same stuffing I was using earlier. Then I just sewed up a little bit at the end with a needle, and then I just was admiring how cool the pattern turned out, like because it was multicolored yarn, I really didn't know what it was going to look like, but somehow we ended up with these like really cool horizontal stripes that was not planned, and I'm not sure if that would kind of just work out no matter what you did, but hey, it worked out for mine, so I was pretty excited about that. And once again, I just added some googly eyes using my hot glue gun, and then it was time to make some more. So the next yarns I chose to use were these multicolored ones. So the yarn was quite a bit thinner than the one I had just used, but they were still multicolored. However, However, with the purple multicolored one, it was dyed in like a repeating pattern. So there was a certain length of light purple, then a certain length of mid purple, then a certain length of dark purple. However, with these ones, they just dyed completely randomly. So like you might have 2 meters of orange, 1 meter of pink, half a meter of blue, then 8 meters of orange, and you never know what you're going to get. So here is how the Worry Pets that I did with these 2 yarns turned out. So I did this one first, and you can see the top is kind of just like a multicolored mess, but then we move into a section of like stripes. So we have a white stripe, a pink stripe, orange stripes, light pink stripes, and then another multicolored mess at the bottom, although this bit is kind of consistent. Then the second one turned out really different. So this one had like a light purple stripe, then a dark purple stripe, then a pink stripe. Then we move into kind of a multicolored mess, and then a really multicolored mess on the bottom. I always find it so fun to see how these yarns turn out because you just never know. Then I decided to crochet one final Worry Pet using this really cool rainbow yarn I had. So this one was quite a bit thicker, so I ended up using a 7mm crochet hook to do this one. This yarn was similar to the purple one in that it was a more like consistently dyed pattern. So here is how the final Worry Pet turned out. This one is quite a bit bigger than the other ones, but it's kind of nice. Like you can hold it in both your hands. It's very comforting. The multicolored yarn didn't really end up creating any kind of patterns in this one. It's just random all over, but I like it. I think it looks cool. It's actually giving me like really kind of lollipop vibes. I don't know why. I like it a lot though. I think he looks very cool. In comparison to the other ones, he is a lot bigger. And like a lot bigger than these 2 little ones. So these all follow the exact same pattern. The only difference is this is a 3.5mm hook, this is a 4mm hook, and this is a 7mm hook. Obviously the yarns were also different sizes. So this was a very thin one, this was an 8-ply one, and this was, I don't know what this was, some kind of chunky yarn. But yeah, that is how I got the different sizes. But overall I'm pretty happy with these fellows. Like they look really cute and they're just like, they're nice. It's nice to have different sizes. You can hold them when you're in different moods. This one definitely turned out a lot bigger than I was expecting, but he's cool because they can make like a whole Worry Pet stack. Well, that is all the Worry Pets I'm going to be making for today. I ended up with 4 crocheted ones and 5 hand sewn ones, which I'm struggling to hold all of them at once. If you have any nice feeling fabric or just any yarn at all, I would really recommend making these. These were really fun and they're just like cute little friends to sit around your room and make you feel happy. Well, that is, oh my gosh. Well, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed watching me make my Worry Pet. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you again very soon. Bye!